We're okay. Alors, bonsoir, good evening, Ani, and welcome everyone, especially our guests that we have here. It's rare that we have people come over, so we like it even though when you're not mad. We like to see you when you're happy with us too. So certainly extend the invitation to come every first and third Wednesday of the month. And I'd like to begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are in the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe peoples in the Robinson Huron Treaty area and wish to recognize the neighboring community of Dokis First Nations. While we meet today, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands which we each call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their culture. From coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people that call this land home. And with that, I need a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda. Bob and Roger, and I understand there is an addition. So please add to your agenda 6.3.4, which is a report regarding a culvert
For Lakeview Drive.
Lakeview Drive. Okay, so that'll go 6.3.4. The amended agenda, all those in favor? Thank you. Any disclosure of pecuniary interests? Seeing none. And Willie, I see you over there, and if I miss you, please say something, okay? Thank you. Tonight, we have a delegation from Le Domaine des Pionniers residents with regards to the removal of the Shaw transfer site. And I believe Lise Pilon will be speaking on behalf of the Pionniers. So I'd like you to go to the microphone, the podium there, and just press that gray button and the little red light's going to come on. And away you go. And you have approximately 15 minutes.
It won't take that long.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. My name is Lise Pilon, and I am a representative of the Domaine des Pionniers Camping. For those of you who are not familiar with the Domaine, we are a group of seniors that purchased a parcel of land in Chairman Township approximately 17 years ago, after we had leased it for about 25 years. It was established originally as a nonprofit organizational campground with low lot fees for French-speaking seniors from this region, open from May to October. We still keep the low lot fees. We're still nonprofit. We are taxpayers. We support local businesses regularly and still pay school taxes for some reason, and we don't ask for much. The only services we receive from the municipality are the bins, Shaw Road maintenance, and access to paramedics and OPP in case of emergencies. We don't have proper telephone service or cell or internet towers or municipal sewers. Overall, we are self-sufficient. We value our surroundings, love our natural environment, and strive to keep it healthy. Losing the bins will be a hardship for many of us on that road, and it will impact our beautiful natural environment and the safety of our wildlife. Take the time to drive down Shaw all the way to Old 69 to Esther. You will not find junk along the road, empty garbage containers, or furniture lining our forest line. That is because of those bins, a service that our taxes pay for, and the residents of our area who make the effort to keep it beautiful and clean and safe for all. This also keeps municipal costs down as it lessens the need to pay for cleaning of the roadsides. Most of us in the area use the bins properly, but we have all witnessed the inappropriate dumping by people who are not from our roads. We see them coming from the highway. Some of us have even followed them back to Lake Road or St. Charles or Noelville. Some of us have spoken up and told them that they should not be dumping this stuff here, But what's an 80-year-old woman and her 86-year-old partner going to do against 2 or 3 25-year-olds? But puts themselves in danger. When we originally started the campground, we had the dump on Shaw Road, which was closed in, I believe it's 2004, 2005, and replaced with the bins. In 2008, we, the Domaine, received a letter from the municipality, from Mr. Mike Higgins of the municipality, and offering us resident landfill passes for the use of the bins. This was for all our members and residents. He also thanked us for our cooperation and ongoing assistance in keeping the area clean. Every year, we would come and pick up the passes for our campers to show at the bins in case we were questioned. Last year, we found out these were no longer available and the possible closure of the site. We are here asking you, the municipality, to help us and allow the bins to stay. Let's put them in a controlled environment, possibly with a card lock system, to access the enhanced security, away from the highway. So further down the road a little bit, possibly discouraging non-resident usage and allowing easy access to the elders and local residents who use them properly. Some of our seniors don't drive, so it becomes an issue for them to take out their garbage, especially if they have to come out to Noelville. It's one thing to ask somebody for a ride down the road. It's another to come all the way to town. Please support us as we support this municipality. We would appreciate anything that you can do for us, and we would gladly work with you at any point, should some other options come available. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And you're right, you didn't need 15 minutes. Thank you. Well, thank you for your presentation. And yes, we've been getting a lot of comments with regards to the closure of the bins. And later on in the agenda, you'll see that there's been some requests from other groups who will be doing presentations at council on September 17th with regards to the closure. So it'll be reconsidered by council once we get everybody's idea. Now, you find yourself in a really awkward position, as you know, because you are a designated campground, and designated campgrounds do not have access to bins. So I'm just, can you go to the mic? This is recorded and we have a counselor that's over there.
Sorry.
That's okay. I forget about him all the time.
I understand what you're saying, but on the other hand, we've always been acknowledged as residents, and the municipality themselves sent us that letter. We never asked for that letter or for the passes. And I have a copy of the letter here for you.
Okay.
I also have a copy of the residential passes.
So those passes, were they given to you every year? Sorry.
Every year. Yes.
So, okay. Well, maybe I'll take a copy of that.
Okay. We're not asking for,
Sorry.
microphone, sorry. We're not asking for a special designation of any kind or whatever, but we don't bother the municipality for much. Like I say, we are self-sufficient. It's not a regular campground. It's a bunch of seniors that, and most of it family, that just gather around. We just happened to purchase the M&R land when it became available.
Right.
And we continue to offer a natural environment for our elders to come out and enjoy.
Okay.
So all we're asking for is the bins. If you want to bring them closer to us, all the better. But, you know.
That's good.
I'll bring you.
Okay. Yes, please. Thank you very much for taking the time. Well, be darned. All right. So as I said, there will be other groups presenting on September 17th. So, and then at that point, council will hold a full discussion on what to do with the bins. But thank you very much for your input. Much appreciated. All right, with that, we'll move to item 6, general government. 6.1.1, Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. So we have council members, you have to decide today if you are going to attend the 2025 Municipal Council Workshop in Zilda so that Melanie can register us. So who's going beside myself? The actual date is, yeah. Roger, are you going to be able to go? Okay. Okay, Roger. Bob,
I will be out.
you'll be out of town? Oh, are you going, Mark?
Yes, I will be.
Okay. Dean, did you want to go?
What's the date again?
21st, 22nd of October,
So it's a Tuesday and Wednesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, I have time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that's a good time.
All right.
Over.
Mr. Dave, you're good? Madame Renee?
I'm gonna say yes, but I'll have to double check with my boss. to See
Okay,
if I can get the time off.
So if I may, through Madam Chair, if there's, like, I can register you for the 2 days, but if there's one day that you prefer going, then it's also fine. I can
Yeah.
advise them.
that may be easier for you, Renee, if you.
Yeah. I'll see, I'll talk to Bruno.
Oh,
tomorrow.
Willie. Oh, Willie. Did you want to go to the conference in Zilda?
Forgot about me again, did you?
Yeah, sorry, that's why I have
Um,
Bob.
No, that's fine. unfortunately, that is right in the height of my busy season. I will be unable to attend. The topic is very it's very alluring, but I can't make it.
Okay, fair enough. Do you need a motion for that?
Yes, I have a motion. for sure.
Okay, need a mover and a seconder. Bob and Roger.
Okay, so it's moved that council approves of the following members of council attend the 2025 Northeast Municipal Council Workshop. So I have Giselle, Roger, Dean, David, and Brittany.
All those in favor? Thank you. All right, then we'll move on to 6.1.2. You have the quarterly report from the clerk's department. Do you have any questions for the clerk? No. All right, we'll move on to the quarterly 6.2.1, the quarterly report from the finance department. Any questions? Seeing none. Now we have a big report on asset management plan, phase 4, our final compliance. And Carly will present it, and the work was done by Mark, Flitty, and Carly, and many staff members and at the municipality. And before we start, I read it, and it's quite comprehensive. So good, nice job.
Has a tendency to be overly complicated, so the presentation is to help dial it down a little bit.
Okay,
So I'm just going to minimize, okay. Pop up and share my screen so Willie can see. Share this. Okay. Can you see that, Willie? Okay.
Yes, I can see it.
Cool. Perfect. Okay, so just get my notes up. Okay, so tonight we are seeking council's approval and adoption for the 2025 asset management plan. And this adoption fulfills phase 4 of the Ontario Regulation 588-17 and sets the framework for informed data-driven decisions from now going forward. So there's just a little video here to explain to council and the public what asset management is and why it's important.
Municipalities take pride in providing and maintaining the many services citizens depend on every day, like transportation, clean drinking water, recreation, garbage collection, and recycling. For instance, the municipality of NFOA has approximately $20 billion in municipal infrastructure assets that are critical to delivering these services. These include roads, bridges, sewer and water systems, recreation facilities, and parks. The municipality of NFOA is similar to many municipalities. They are facing challenges because of aging infrastructure. Many of their assets are reaching the end of their life cycle, and there's a need for new infrastructure to service growth. This is where asset management planning comes in. Asset management planning is the process used to help make the best possible decisions regarding building, operating, maintaining, renewing, replacing, and disposing of infrastructure assets. Simply put, it's all about making the right decision at the right time for the right moment. Municipalities focus on three fundamental goals: providing sustainable services to residents, optimizing municipal infrastructure asset value while minimizing lifecycle costs, and managing risks to service delivery. For example, the municipality of NFOA takes a proactive approach and initially developed a corporate asset management plan in 2014. In 2019, the municipality developed a new policy and updated its plan to meet the new provincial regulation requirements and improve management of all assets. The planning and policy development process provides a clear, detailed picture of our assets, needs, and priorities, which plays an important role in the development of the municipality's multi-year budget. An optimal amount of funding is required to manage current and future asset risks. The difference between the optimal amount and available budget is what we call the infrastructure gap. If the infrastructure gap increases, it will result in inaccessible assets or assets that are not in optimal use. So we need to balance growth, catch up on overdue maintenance of existing assets, finance the replacement of old assets, and modernize our infrastructure to be better prepared for tomorrow's challenges, while striving to keep property taxes, water, and wastewater rates reasonable for residents. The municipality of NFOA's corporate-wide asset management plan is how they prioritize infrastructure needs to achieve the greatest benefit to the community and to ensure the municipality is a great place to live now, well into the future. For more information on asset management planning, visit NFOA's website.
So thank you for listening through that, but it kind of sets the tone, especially for the audience, on why we're here and why this is an important document. And also reiterates that this is not a set in stone plan. It's adaptable and changeable based on what's happening currently. Get back here. Whoops. There we go. So like I say, this is not a set in stone document. Every year staff will update condition data, add new assets, and make adjustments based on the maintenance or capital work that was done. Those updates inform the annual budget, where we utilize multiple lenses based on risk, service, cost, and growth to make these informed decisions. The maintenance manager, which will be at our next meeting if you're interested in coming, will make this data live, capturing every inspection, work orders, and data from our fleet management systems and equipment, which means that when we come back to you during budget time, you won't just see spreadsheets, you'll see data for better informed decisions on where we should be putting our money next, and for the foreseeable future. So finally, the funding strategy is always a mix. It's not just taxation, but there's also grants, donations, surpluses, and reserves that all help minimize the impact on the tax base. So all the numbers that you're going to see here today don't hit the tax base altogether, okay? And again, with the roadmap, oh, sorry. I'm going to go back one. So all of these, I'm not going to read the slide there, but it'll be available if you want to dive into it. So how staff will use the asset management plan is that every year We'll update the data for all of our assets, integrate that into our budget planning, look at decisions with different lenses based on risk, service, cost, and growth, like I had mentioned. And then maintenance and record keeping will be optimized through the maintenance manager. And then the funding mix will be a balance, like I said, and then we review this annually. So staff will get together with council on multiple different occasions during the budget planning sessions to review, you know, what had happened that year, what had happened the year prior, what did we not get to, and how do we make those adjustments accordingly. So this is the roadmap that brought us to where we are today. We started in 2013, well, prior to 2013, they had adopted our first asset management plan. So a lot of the verbiage that's in the actual plan came from that plan. It was done by a third-party engineering firm. So we had to create a policy that was adopted by council in 2019, which was phase one. Phase two was to focus on our core infrastructure assets, which were our roads, bridges and culverts, and all the remaining assets, which would be equipment, vehicles, parks, buildings, all of the stuff that costs a little bit less, basically. And then we look at our levels of service, life cycle, and financing strategy in the final phase of the project, and that would complete the entire plan. So it was a phased-in approach to see what was going to work at the time, and then now we're looking at adopting a 10-year financial plan, which if council is going to adopt it tonight, we will send off to the Ministry of Infrastructure. So it's a big number, but I don't want anyone to get kind of caught up in the numbers right now because there's no immediate financial impact. That's why it's there in yellow and bold. The asset management plan serves as a guide from year to year and assists in our planning, our grant applications, and our reserve contributions. With grant applications, I'm not sure if anyone has had any opportunity to dabble in that department, but now they're really pushing on, you know, is this part of your community plan? Is this part of your asset management plan? And if it's not, then it's kind of like a tick in the wrong direction of you being successful in that grant application. This gap also doesn't identify any overspending or mismanagement. It is solely a reflection of the real cost of maintaining current levels of service versus what we have historically funded. So it's just outlining that, you know, in 2013, we had an annual cost of 1.2 million that was spent in our capital budget. And then if we had followed the asset management plan and made all of the recommendations and purchased everything that they were recommending, then it would have cost 2.8 million. The wiggle room is in the middle, and that's where we make those changes during budget season as to what we can actually afford, what needs to be replaced based on condition assessments. Was there proper maintenance done during the year that prolonged the life of the asset? And we would make those adjustments. So I don't want the gap to be scary, okay? So the gap analysis, I'm gonna move that over here so that you guys can see. A lot of the information came from the previous asset management plan, budget documents, and any other supporting third-party studies or documents helped create these numbers and identify the gaps. So I could go on and on with how many different parameters that we used or lenses that we used, and it's different per asset base. So roads has its own parameters, buildings, everything has its own categorization on how we get to the final numbers. So as you can see, roads is our biggest asset, our most expensive asset, and our most utilized asset because people want to make sure that they can get where they're going on time, right? I'm just going to grab my notes, make sure I didn't miss anything. The second one being buildings, and the third one being bridges and stormwater. So like the sewer systems, the grates and everything like that. So those were the three that had the largest gap. And that doesn't mean that we haven't been spending in those departments. It just means they're the most expensive asset to maintain and replace. So this presentation goes along with the actual asset management plan. You'll see that the roads class is first, as it's the biggest, and then the rest of the plan, it gets smaller and smaller in dollar amounts. Doesn't mean that the importance isn't there, but this is how it's laid out. So we have 146 kilometers of municipal roads. Of the road system, it's divided by gravel, surface treated, or asphalt in some cases. We have very, very few. The total estimated replacement value, so if we were to dig up all the roads and replace all the roads all at once, it would be $61 million. But our current value, as per our audited statements, is 19,011,360. And that's where that gap comes from, right? Because it's going to take current estimated costs and replace those roads. Why the PSAP values are so small is because roads can last up to 40 years with proper maintenance. But if we don't keep up the maintenance, then they deteriorate faster. But if we keep up with the maintenance, then we don't need to replace them and rehabilitate them as often, unless there's a washout, or there's so many different factors that kind of play into when we would do work on roads. And that's where the managers come in, because they're the boots on the ground to tell us, you know, what's going on. Our condition assessment. So in 2018, we had Stantec come in and do a roads plan. They come in every 10 years and they go around and assess the condition of our roads. 35% of them were good, 40% of them were fair, and 25% of them are poor. Our annual life cycle needs. So our life cycle means, you know, how long does that asset last? As per our asset management plan, we would need $2.3 million a year to maintain or to invest in the roads as for capital. Current funding in our budget was 1.1 million. And so 700,000 was in capital and 417,000 was contributed through amortization, and $30,000 was contributed through interest. So therefore the annual estimated gap is 1.2 million in the need versus what we're actually contributing. And the levels of service. So in terms of council setting the levels of service is how I also wanted to set up this this presentation, because that's where you guys have the most say, is in the levels of service that we give out to the public. So currently our levels of service are minimum maintenance standards, which is a legal requirement and our baseline. An enhanced service for more frequent grading or resurfacing cycles at 12 and 15 years instead of 18 to 20. That comes with a financial increase, right? And then a reduced service would defer resurfacing or lower frequency of patrols, and there's an increased risk. So based on the level of service that council sets and the amount of money that they put towards it, it either increases or decreases the risk, or prolongs the life, or makes it so that we can save money this year, but we know that we're going to have to spend a lot more money in the future. So it's a balancing game. So if we keep with our current minimum maintenance standards at $1.1 million a year, then we would stick with that. Enhanced service for resurfacing, 12 to 15 years, more ditching. That's where the $2.3 million would come in. And that's what states in the asset management plan, that you could go up to that point, but you don't necessarily have to. And that's where we would go back and forth with department managers and council to say, what is our actual need and what are you comfortable investing capital wise? And then reduce levels of service. So, hey, we need to save some money this year. We're going to reduce their levels of service, but we're going to amp it up again next year. So our budget process isn't linear and going up all the time. It's kind of a little wave depending on what asset is coming due to be replaced or maintained that year, and a lot of other external factors. So our next class is bridges and culverts. So these are our three major infrastructure components. 3 major bridges and 17 culverts throughout the municipality. The PSAB value, so our current estimated value is 744,188. The replacement value is 5 million. 40% of them were good, 45% of them were fair, 15 poor. This is the need for life cycle, what we should be investing in it yearly. And this is our current funding, and this is the gap. Okay, potentially. Keep having to move, Willie. So I can see my slides. Not your fault, Willie. So the levels of service. Keep what we currently have, enhance or reduce, right? So currently we are reactive and we do emergency fixes based on inspections from, what's that place called? OSIM, Ontario Structures Inspection Manuals. So they're the ones that come in and they give us reports on our structural, what's that word? Yeah, just on the structure, integrity, that's the word. On the structural integrity, just to make sure that it's safe for people to drive over, right? So do we keep that the same and do emergency fixes and keep putting money into our reserve accounts so that we have money in the bank when and if this happens? Or do we enhance and be proactive and do the deck and joint work and recoding and culvert realigning and all these things that you can do to enhance the service so that you prolong the life of the bridge or the culvert? And all of those have financial impacts. So like our 2025 capital project was the rehabilitation of Montigere culvert and road, $800,000, right? That wasn't the estimate that we had gotten previously, but we are going with the 800,000 to prolong the life and not having to shut down the road, but also not increasing the amount on the tax base, right? So it's that give and take. Stormwater is the same. So there's not as big of a gap here. Current funding was 26,000, but see that how the amounts are coming down a little bit smaller now. Our current value of the whole stormwater system is 854,000, but the replacement value is 1.4 million. The condition is mostly fair based on age and visual inspections. We did get the CCTV footage, which is video cameraing footage. So they put cameras into all these systems to see if there's any cracks or damage that would need to be repaired promptly. And all of this information, I'm sorry, is as of 2023 audited financial statements. So the numbers are going to be a little bit off based on the PSAB value and the replacement value, because that's where it's pulling the numbers from. So back to the levels of service. Do we keep it the same? Do we increase it? Do we reduce it? And then how much money is council willing to put into the stormwater assets? And the same for wastewater. The only difference for wastewater is that we contract Aqua, which is a third-party company that comes out and maintains our wastewater system for us. And that system is about $2 million estimated value. Replacement value is 8.7 million. The condition is fair overall, but much of the network is rated by age with the CCTV inspections. So once we get all of that data from Aqua and input it into our systems, then we'll have a better idea of, you know, how much work needs to be done, where and on what size of pipe, and how long will that last, right? Without replacing the whole system, can we just do some patchwork and prolong it for another day and stack money aside so that we do have the money available once it needs to be replaced? So our current levels of service are reactive repairs, baseline compliance with MOE requirements. If we want to enhance that, we could do proactive cammering and early rehabilitation, lining, pump upgrades, all those kind of things. So we would do those proactively versus, hey, the pump broke and now you got, here's the bill. Or we can reduce it and then break fixes or breaks or fix only with higher environmental and regulatory risk. I don't think that council would ever reduce what we're currently doing in that department. Just because MOE regulates this heavily. Right, so we don't want any wastewater spilling out and creating contamination. So the budget impact, currently we put about $100,000 aside, we did in 2025. Enhancing it would be about $400,000 and reducing it, you could go as low as $50,000, but you risk fines, spills, and costly emergencies, right? Buildings, the same thing. I'm sorry if I'm speeding through this too fast in the document, but we're trying to summarize the 80-page document in this. So buildings, our inventory includes our municipal office, arena, fire halls, garages, libraries, community centers, valued at $28 million. Replacement value. Our current value is estimated at 9.4 million because 40 years ago when they were built, things cost a lot less back then. So the replacement value takes into account the current cost of replacement plus inflation. The condition is mixed because buildings are complex. So you might need to replace your roof and your HVAC and anything else exterior before you'd actually need to replace anything inside. So it kind of separates those things out, and through our system we can set different timeframes for different aspects of the building. So if a roof is set to last 10 years, okay, then that's going to be separated out. But the building itself will last 40 years. Unless you're doing a condition assessment, you're like, oh, well, the weather wasn't so harsh on the roof this year, so now we can prolong it a little bit more and do some patchwork maybe and plan for the replacement in 2028. And then we can stockpile money off the tax base until that time so that when we do replace it, it doesn't hit all in one year, right? So we slowly put money aside for that. The annual life cycle need is about $710,000. Current funding, what we're currently putting towards it in 2025 was $273,000. And that's our amortization. So all of those separate things that I had mentioned, we take the total cost of what it was then and divide that over the estimated useful life. And that's how much we put aside every year. So it's a community, combination of all of those for all of our buildings. So it's a very complicated number to get right, which is why I asked Mark to check my numbers. So our annual gap, should we want to contribute $710,000, would be $438,000. So right now we are following the AODA, fire code compliance, and we're meeting those minimum standards. If we want to enhance it, we would do efficiency upgrades or accessibility retrofits even further. And reduced would be urgent safety fixes only. So anything that would be considered unsafe to the public or that would increase our liability would be a priority. Currently, we're putting $273,000 aside, enhanced would be $710,000, so the reduced amount would be $250,000. Machinery and equipment, so all of our heavy equipment, mowers, shop tools, all of those secondary items. So our current value of all of those items across all departments is 4.2 million. The replacement value would be 5.6. Current conditions are fair to good, depending on what the asset is and how often it's used. So the need to invest in the capital for machinery and equipment would be 300,000. Our current funding is 258,000, so it's not that bad. There's only a $15,000 gap. Council would come in again, set the levels of service, and decide how much money they want to put into the budget. Same for fleet. Right now, our current value is 2.9 million over 18 fleet vehicles. And the replacement value, should we replace all of them today, would be 4.3 million. A lot of these vehicles are for public works, protection services, and recreation departments. And the life cycle need would be 300,000. Current funding is 175,000, so meaning the gap would be 125,000. Same goes for machinery and equipment. Sorry. For the current enhanced reduced, I think you guys get the idea. Parks and Recreation, current value is 748,000. So this is more just like our parks or playground, sports fields, trails, docks, that kind of thing. And the gap would be 155,000. The replacement value would be 2.3 million if we wanted to replace all of our parks and everything right now. So there's a higher cost, but we would never get to that point of replacing all of our parks, sports fields, trails, and docks. And then council has the option of either increasing or decreasing. Are there any questions?
Members of council? Okay. You want a drink of water? Worth it?
Mel gave you the
You
watch.
can only ask questions at the end of the meeting and during the information. However, council can ask questions.
Yes.
I have to say, that's a great report. I know a lot of work went into it, so thank you for that. I was sort of floored at first to see the gap, because that gap sort of bothered me quite a bit. But I do understand, after checking further into it, that it doesn't include getting further grants. And some of the grants that we already received from the government will be put in there. But I guess my comment would be, this has to be filed with the government, right?
Yes,
Okay, and every municipality has to do that, correct?
yes,
So, and every municipality finds themselves with a gap.
yes.
So
Canada
I hope
finds
that's a big
themselves-
message. So, because we're all obligated to hand it in this year.
Yeah.
That this wasn't just an exercise in futility for the government, that the government uses this to see how underfunded that the municipalities are.
They do to a point just to understand what the gap is, right, across the country. Ontario itself is in quite a situation infrastructure wise itself. But it just kind of understands how far is the gap.
That's right. That's right. And unless they give us some assistance, there's just no way that we can
And if-
impose that on the taxpayers.
And if we don't pass the plan in its final stages, then we risk our infrastructure funding from the government.
What can I say? Yeah, yeah, silver handcuffs.
But it will help us in the future because it does set that benchmark for staff and then it creates a nice picture so that staff and council can work together on the same priorities, integrate your community visioning plan to it. It integrates all of these external plans into one document so that depending on what department you're in and what assets you're responsible for, everyone knows what's coming up
That's right.
in the next 10 years, right? So that financial plan that over the next 10 years will really kind of help shape what
Mhm.
we can expect.
Well, it's also a good document for us to, when we do meet with the ministers, to do lobbying.
Yeah.
Because we have it
Yeah,
in accordance to their regulations and their legislation.
following the
that,
rules, yeah.
We're following your rules, and this is, thank you for giving us, this gap, because it's caused really by the government. So anyway, thank you for the report, and I know we have to pass it because, oh, wait, we have a question, Dave?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you. I'm just curious, where does the landfill fall in this? Is that not an asset?
I ask that question all the time. It's one of our biggest assets,
Yeah.
but because they're regulated heavily under the MOE and we are, we have to set aside money. What's it called, Mark? Every year?
We need to keep money aside for the closure costs.
Post-closure.
Yeah.
Post-closure.
Yeah, and post-closure, yes. And that's assessed every year and it's accounted for by, it's assessed by the engineers every year and we account for that in the.
So it's in a
statement.
separate document?
We have an expense every year and then we accrue the liability on the statements.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some municipalities that do and don't, but most of them don't include it in their asset management plan because it's so heavily regulated under the MOE.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question, though.
Oh, Bob?
Yes, thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. Wastewater, I presume that's a sewer system?
Yes.
Do we recoup a lot of these costs from user fees?
Yes.
It's all user-free.
So it's not the total municipality that is paying into this? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? So if you members of the public have questions, keep them for the end under the question period, okay? So we need a mover and a seconder to adopt the Asset Management 2025 Final Compliance Report. Dave and Dean?
So that council adopts the asset management plan as presented and dated September 3rd, 2025.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. And again, Mark and Carly, thank you. And please thank all staff members that worked on it. All right, so let's move on to 6.3. Before you, you have 6.3.1.2. The two quarterly reports for Operation Public Works. Any questions on those? Seeing none. 6.3.3, we have a resolution to award the contract for the supply and installation of the C-cans and the steel roof. And that is in your report, and we have a recommendation. Need a mover and a seconder. Renee and Bob?
It is moved and seconded, be it resolved that council awards the contract for the supply and installation of C-cans and steel roof to Can Steel Building Solutions for an amount of $97,385 plus applicable taxes.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. 6.3.4, which is the urgent item that we added to the agenda. And Martin, you're going to speak to it with regards to the culvert on it's Riverview, right? River Lake? Lakeview. Geez, I always get those two mixed up. Okay, go ahead, Martin.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Let me just find the report. Where's the report? Oh, I got it here. Yeah, old school.
Best school.
Yes. Well, when in doubt. Thank you, everyone. A bit of background on Lakeview Drive. So at one point on the road, we do have Lac Courchaine that does abut the road, and there are currently four 4-foot culverts that abut that that allow the overflow of the lake to pass through those culverts to drain. And during this past April, there was a sinkhole that opened up. And for those of you who don't know what sinkholes are, they're not good. Basically, it typically means that there's an issue with the culvert's failing, and gravel's going into the culvert and the road is becoming unstable. So in April, we ended up patching that, a temporary patch, and it was deemed to be a necessity to be repaired. But at the time, the water was so high that all the culverts were draining the lake, so there wasn't anything we could do about it. Last week, I went out on a routine patrol and found that the water level has lowered below the culverts. And so I decided to do an inspection and found that all 4 culverts are done. Easiest way to put it, they're all rotten. Most of them have no bottoms. 3 of them have no bottoms. One's crushed. One is culvert has the coupler collapsed, and the 4th one technically still in one piece, but it is not in a good condition. So the average lifespan for these steel pipes are between 10 to 20 years, and they lasted about 17 years. So they did live out through their life expectancy, and it is very important that we address the situation before next spring. So what I'm proposing is to replace three of the 4 culverts with 2 5-foot culverts instead of the 4-foot culverts that we have now. So it's less maintenance for the 2, and replace the 4th culvert with the same size culvert. The 2 larger culverts will provide additional flow compared to having the 3. I'm also suggesting putting in plastic pipes. Basically, you're looking at a 50 to 100-year lifespan, so we don't have to dig up the road in the next 20 years. Basically, risks if we do not address the situation this year are the road washing away or collapsing, and these are things that I would highly recommend to avoid. A good example is what happened in Killarney last year when they lost Hartley Bay Road. Though that was a beaver dam that did take it out, if we were to lose this road during the spring, we would not be able to repair the road as there's a lake full of water. We wouldn't be able to get there till about this time of the year. So we would have emergency bridges in, people would be stranded until we get a bridge in. And yeah, so my recommendation is to be proactive and get this repaired this year as the water is low, so we are able to change the culverts appropriately. Thank you.
Any questions for Uptake? I don't think we, oh, Dean?
What's the estimated cost?
My estimated cost, I've spoken to a couple of local contractors and the culvert dealership. We're looking between $80,000 to $100,000.
Oof. I don't think we have much choice, but it sounds.
Denny?
And so, is the money gonna come from the reserves from that? Or do we have money in the reserves? Or? Mark?
There's a portion of that budget's already allocated for in the capital budget. So the guardrail budget of about 15,000 is going to be transferred from the capital road budget. We're looking also at there's some monies left over in the capital road budget. So we should be able to absorb the majority of these costs. If there's any overage, we have the roads budget, the roads reserve and the culvert reserve, the bridge culvert. So in the roads reserve, there's $664,000 in it, and the bridge and culverts reserve, there's $249,000.
So a question for Mark. Thanks, Mark. Question, if the road is in dire need of all this work, should we be allowing people to drive over it? Like, are we taking chances? I mean, if the culverts are, to that point, I don't think the road should be open to let people drive through it. I know it's not a perfect time of the year, but if somebody goes through one of those culverts, I mean, we are liable.
100% understood the question. At this time, since there's no pressure from the water on the road, and I did take a look at both ends of the culverts, the road is structurally stable. More or less how it works is you have the pressure from the gravel around the pipe that holds up the road. So as long as it's not eroding, there shouldn't be a risk of a road collapse. When water runs through that pipe, because there's no bottom, it'll start eating away at the sides, which then takes the gravel from the top of the pipe and goes underneath it. And that's where you have the cavities, which allows for a collapse. Because there's no water running through these pipes at the moment, the road seems to be structurally stable. We've driven over it all summer. We can't necessarily close the road because there's no way in. There's only one way out. So at this time, I believe the road is structurally sound, but in the coming spring, when the water starts rushing through there, again, we have 4-4-foot pipes, right?
Yeah.
And they're going full bore. So at that time, you're going to have a lot of pressure on that road, a lot of water going through. So at this time, things are looking good.
And are they able to do that before winter?
I to the contractors I've spoken to, they can. The only thing
Okay.
that they'd be waiting on is culvert delivery.
Thank you.
Thank you, Denny. Well, it doesn't look like we have much choice, right? So, oh, Willie, I haven't forgotten you. Go ahead.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'm just curious, did we do resurfacing work on that road this year?
No, we haven't.
Okay, thank you. I was under the impression that was one of the roads that we resurfaced.
No,
We put gravel on Riverview last year, but this is Lakeview. We didn't touch it.
Okay, thank you.
Dean?
Martin, if we replace the culverts as you're suggesting we should do and do the best we can, what's to prevent it from happening again? The same situation? Are we going to do anything to prevent that or?
Through you. Switching to plastic pipes, I believe, is the best way of doing it. The water seems to be very acidic. I don't know if you can tell from the pictures, but the bottom is all rotted out. So having a high concentration of acidic water will tend to eat culverts a little faster. They lasted 17 years, like they did their job. But having a plastic pipe, plastic shouldn't rot. So the only concern with plastic pipes is they tend to float if they are too high on the road, but we do have about 2 to 3 feet of cover. Recommendation about a foot and a half is what I would always put down on our roads, but we have about 2 to 3 feet. So they shouldn't rise, shouldn't. And the only other problem with plastic culverts is that if they're exposed to UV, so the sun, they will get weaker, but typically only on the ends. So everything underground should be good. Ideally, I've been putting in plastic pipes for our larger projects because I don't ever want to dig them up. I also did the same thing with the cemetery culvert. And based off of all of our research that we've done, you know, they say they last 50 to 100 years, but I don't know how long we've been using plastic pipes. I don't think we've had them for 50 years. So it's still kind of a waiting game, but I do believe it's the best choice. It costs a little bit more money, but we don't have to come back in 20 years.
Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. So I need a mover and a seconder to approve the expense. Renee, and seconded by Roger.
It is duly moved and seconded. Be it resolved that council approves to proceed with a request for tender to be awarded at the September 17th council meeting for the replacement of 4 culverts and installation of new guide wires along Lakeview Drive, with costs to be covered through the existing 2025 capital roads budget and any excess to be funded by reserves.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. There is no report for 6.4, 6.5, and 6.6, so we'll move to correspondence. We have a request for support for 4 laning of Highway 400 or Highway 69 from Parry Sound to Sudbury. This was put forward by the municipality of Parry Sound, and they would like us to join in their request to have the rest of it all done, not just a little piece. So there is a resolution before us. I need a mover and a seconder, Dave and Renee.
It is moved and seconded. Be it resolved that council supports the town of Parry Sound's resolution 2025-099 dated August 12th, 2025, requesting the province to complete the 4 laning of the remaining 68 kilometers of highway between Parry Sound and Sudbury as soon as possible, and that a copy of the resolution be forwarded to Parry Sound, McDougall, Whitestone, Killarney, Township of Archipelago, Carling, McKellar, and Seguin, and the city of Greater Sudbury and First Nations communities of Shawanaga, Henby Inlet, and Magnetawan to indicate French River's support.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. 7.2, as noted here, we have the Shaw Road area residents opposing the closure of Shaw Road transfer site. We've received a request for an extension on the closure of the Shaw transfer site, as well as we've received correspondence from the Trout Lake Association and from some individuals. I am told there is a request that has gone in for a delegation for September 17th from a group of people who will be coming to us to present alternative proposals for us, for our consideration. So it's appropriate at that time that we look at it. I am advised that they will submit their report ahead of time so that we have time to look at it before they come and present to the meeting. So my suggestion is that the discussion be held until we have all the information. Everybody okay with that? All right. Now, before you, sorry, we have another motion to stop the spray of the herbicide project that we ban a non-essential use of glyphosate-based herbicides. And we'll put the motion forward, but my understanding is that the government, through all the pressure, have halted for now. But I think that we should have our motion in. All right, so I need a mover and a seconder. Roger and Bob.
If you allow, Madam Mayor, I will not read the whole motion.
No, because we'll be here for 2 days.
It is included in the agenda package.
Yes.
It essentially petitions the province to ban the product. So it is moved and seconded.
Yeah.
Call a vote.
All those in favor? Thank you. The next request, 7.4, is a request to support adopting new affordable housing property tax subclass. There is a letter before you from Donna Stewart, who's the Chief Administrative Officer for the Manitoulin District Service Board. And I know that they're under pressure for to get this bylaw. What they're looking for is a reduction in anybody that provides affordable housing would reduce in their homes or buildings. There would be a subclass tax reduction, and it's up to 35%. So though I understand where they're coming from, I think we need more information on that. And I certainly want to know what the impact would be on our municipality, because that's a huge tax-based loss that we would incur. And whatever loss is there would be then supposed on the rest of the residents. So I don't want to rush this. Okay, Dave?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you. And I'd also be curious to know what would be the criteria for affordable housing.
Yeah, well, I thought of that too,
Mhm.
to be honest, because anybody can say, well, rent a room and then I get 35% off my taxes I'm sure there's criteria, but it's just too soon. And I'm not sure we can meet the deadline. So perhaps, Mark, is it too much to ask you for maybe next meeting to have a look to see what kind of impact this would have? Or is there a way of figuring this out?
I'm going to a conference in
Right.
Niagara Falls for MFOA, and it's probably going to be on the agenda also.
Yes.
So we'll discuss this for sure.
Okay, thank you. So if you don't mind, council, I'd like to put that aside for either our next meeting. And until we get more information, I think it's premature for us to even consider it. So, all right. I need a resolution to adopt the items contained in the consent agenda. Dave and Dean?
It is moved and seconded, be it resolved that council approves the items of the consent agenda under sections 8.1 and 8.4 and receives the items under section 8.2.
Thank you. All those in favor? All right. Notice of motion? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would a bit of background, I guess. Because of all our garbage issues, bins, this and that, a lot of people have been, I know, approaching me as well as you about, well, what are you going to do and this and that, and how can we, and a lot of people have been talking about referendum. I know nothing about referendum. I have never lived it. I've never seen it in our municipality. I would just like to get more information, general information on how a referendum works. And maybe ask our staff to make a report to us and give us general guidelines
Sure.
without any commitment. But
Yeah, our staff-
this would be maybe it's premature.
Well, there's
But
absolutely.
I'd like to be ready.
Yeah,
if-
there's absolutely nothing wrong with asking staff to do reports on stuff like that.
Or I can be in our clerk's office tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock and she can give me the information. But I think it's
probably-
information that would be
We should be shared.
very useful to
Sure,
all of council.
of course.
And I don't even know if this is the proper procedure. I apologize,
No,
but I would like to get this information.
well, we can direct staff to get us information on how to conduct a proper referendum and
Yes.
report back to council. Are we okay with that?
And not saying that we will need one.
No, but that's information
Yes,
that we should all have, and I don't have a problem with that.
okay.
So
Thank you very much.
you're welcome. Yeah,
The referendum, would it pose several different opportunities or different?
I don't know how it works. This is the information I would like to receive.
referendums are very strict, so that's why we need the information.
Let staff prepare a
Yeah.
report for council for review. And then that'll give you all the information necessary at that point.
All right, so I will then go to announcement and inquiries. Roger? Mr. Bob?
Again, I apologize, Madam Mayor. I know we have another meeting at 7. But
can
I
wait.
just want to touch on all the great events we had this summer. Our July 1st golf tournaments, the marketplace, the Rod and Gun, music in the park, which the last one is next Friday. And if you have a chance, it's great. At Joe Chartrand Park, the family ball tournament. I'd just like to say thank you and congratulate all the people responsible for all these events, all the volunteers. There's a lot of time. It was very, very appreciated. Our French River Rapids are back and their first game is Friday night. So let's support them. Tomorrow, I have a chance through Economic Partners of meeting our new member of parliament. I believe most of you have been invited. It's at 4 o'clock in Sturgeon Falls at the Economic Partner office. Our senior apartments, people have started moving in. Hooray. I've gone around every day, talked to the people moved in, they're all happy. They're all very satisfied. It looks great. Hopefully, we will get with our extra advertising and marketing, we will be filling all those apartments very shortly. Everything looks great. I see today picnic tables were delivered at the 3 corners. It's great. If you haven't had a chance, please go and drive around. I still have keys for some empty. If anyone would like to see them, just contact me. They were working on the framework for our signage, L'Horizon, today, and that I would imagine that will be up very, very shortly. And thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Welcome. Willie, do you have anything?
Nothing to add at this time.
Okay, thank you. Dean?
I got a couple of things I'll say. One is, I don't know where the summer went, but seems to me it just disappeared. We had 2 or 3 weeks of really nice warm weather and I don't know, I was just looking at those clouds out there and it doesn't look too promising right now, but we could desperately use rain. I've been concerned about the fact that we haven't even been declared to be in no fire zone or anything, and it worries me because maybe because we live in the bush, but in any event, the last thing I'll say is that the river, the French, is at rock bottom low. I've never seen it quite this low. It must, I guess, the whole summer with no water, and the Lake Nipissing is low also. So it's an unusual situation, and not that, let's say, everybody else says it's climate problem, so I'll leave it with that.
I have nothing to add. Thank you.
Vinny?
I'll second what Bob said about all the great events throughout the summer, and nice to see a lot of kind of slowed down a little bit. A lot of tourists have gone back home, but there's still some around for another 2 months, so we'll enjoy them. I will say thank you to having paramedic services in our area. As you know, my daughter gave birth to a baby boy 2 weeks ago on the side of the highway in the ambulance. We didn't quite make it to Sudbury, and it was really fast. So very grateful that we have paramedics close by. So, and that's about it.
Well, congratulations. Grandmama, right? Yes, yes. The only thing, I'm not going to repeat everything, but I just want to say that a few counselors and I attended the AMO and the CAO, the AMO conference a couple weeks ago, and it was very interesting. Some good discussions. We did meet with the Minister of the Environment because of the delays with our landfill and getting all the approvals that we need to. I was quite impressed with the minister because he had the right person there to deal with our file. And so now our staff and Mark have a contact person, and we've been assured that the approvals are forthcoming, and we should know by the end of September, beginning of October, so then we can start working on our projects that were approved back a year and a half ago. So that was really good. Members of the public, any questions? No? She's okay. She does that to me too. That's why we stay quiet until she's done. All right. Now we do have a closed session meeting, so I need a mover and a seconder to resolve into closed session. Bob and Roger.
It is moved in second, be it resolved that the meeting be closed as authorized in the municipal act pursuant to section 239(2)(I), a trade secret or scientific, technical, commercial, financial, labor relations information supplied in confidence to the municipality, which if disclosed could reasonably be expected to prejudice significantly the competitive position or interfere significantly with the contractual or other negotiations of a person, group or organization. So with respect to an update on an ongoing economic development initiative within the municipality.
All those in favor? Thank you. We'll be back in about 5-10 minutes. Yeah.
Did
Wait. All right. I need a resolution to reconvene into open session, moved by Dave and Renee. All those in favor? Thank you. And I need, sorry. Yeah, that's what I was looking at. I need a resolution to adopt the confirmation bylaw. Thank you. Dave and Renee. All those in favor? Thank you. And I need a resolution to adjourn. Renee and Dave. All those in favor? Thank you.